What is up, everyone? Prometheus here. So today I'd like to talk about the upcoming Marvel movie Avengers: Secret Wars, because Avengers recently just spilled the bad news for us that not bad, just the tragic news that Avengers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as we know it, will be coming to an end with this movie. So, that's what we want to talk about, the potential with Avengers Secret Wars. If you read the title, I think it has the potential to be the greatest movie of all time. I'm serious. Or at least the greatest superhero movie of all time, or at least the best Marvel movie of all time. You know what I mean. So, Avengers Endgame was the biggest movie in the MCU with like nearly 40 superhero characters coming together in this ultimate climax with one of the best the best battle scene in the entire MCU. Big epic scene that we've waited so long to see. But with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, it's going to probably dwarf the size of that one, with each probably having a mega climax. With Avengers Doomsday, I'm hearing it's going to have around 60 characters in it, which is like nearly double the amount of Endgame. So that film's going to be more epic than Endgame, clearly. And it's dwarfing the size of it. Probably going to have a mega climax even bigger than Endgame. And that's only the first part, because Avengers Secret Wars, I hear, is going to have nearly 100, maybe even more. Nearly 100 characters, which is nearly triple, if not more than triple, the amount of the characters in Avengers Endgame. So this movie is going to be extremely big, likely extremely expensive, and ambitious. Will it be great? I think it has potential to be the greatest. But I also think it has potential to maybe be a bit of a disappointment, or not what we are hoping for, or too bloated for its own good. Because the MCU has been, in recent years, has been less about quality content and more just appeasing the masses and money. There hasn't been many great Marvel movies, and we've getting a lot of really bad ones. Just look at Morbius was Sony, never mind. Let's just look at movies like The Marvels, Quantumania. Like, it's gone a bit downhill since Avengers Endgame. There's been some great ones, don't get me wrong. No Way Home's great. Far From Home's great. A bunch of other great ones, like Shang-Chi. Those, like, I'm not saying it's not completely dead. I still love the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is one of my top 10 Marvel movies of all time. But, like, Secret Wars is going to be the final film, the finale to a franchise which has been going on for, at that point, nearly two decades, since it started in 2008. And like, they've got to bring out everything in this film. Like, they're going to bring back all their, I'm not theorizing, this is definitely happening. They're definitely bringing back all the previous characters, even deceased ones from previous movies. They're going to bring up new characters, new villains, it's going to be crazy. So the plot of the comic is the Beyonder sends the Avengers to a battle planet to forever fight some different villains across the multiverse, something like that. They're probably going to change it up a bit, who knows. But Doomsday, when that one sets up, is probably going to be big, epic, and you're going to think, oh my goodness, this completely just dwarfs the size of Endgame. And like, you're going to think, oh, they cannot get better than this one when Doomsday comes out, probably being the best movie in the MCU at that point. Before then knowing that don't listen to the noises upstairs, those are just the kids. So you're gonna think, oh my goodness, Secret Wars cannot possibly top this one. Like, no way they're gonna do that. Like, it's gonna be absolutely crazy. And then all of a sudden Secret Wars comes out, and it's the biggest and most epic movie you will ever see. It will be a large war. Like, the Beyonder is going to be the biggest threat in the entire multiverse. Like, sir, Doctor Doom's probably still going to be an antagonist. Kang's probably going to still be there, but the Beyonder is going to be probably the biggest antagonist in the entire franchise. And this, I bet this entire film is probably just going to be a one big epic battle, because that's what Secret Wars is. It's a large battle. We're going to see Deadpool. We're going to see all these characters come together to fight villains, and eventually probably have to come together to fight the Beyonder. It's going to be crazy. Like, it has so much potential to be the biggest, best superhero movie ever made. But I'm also worried, because it could also be bloated. It could be, like, Endgame, as much as I love it, isn't perfect. It has a lot of problems. I mean, I still give it like a 9.5 out of 10, don't get me wrong. But I do think Infinity War is stronger because it doesn't fall into the same problems Endgame does have. Secret Wars, as great as it may be, also might not end up being the greatest of all time. It could be one of the greatest, but not the greatest. It may not end up being perfect. Like, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I wouldn't be surprised if this film ends up being great. It has like a high 90s score, even 100%. Not many movies have 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it's going to be the biggest. It's going to be a farewell. They're going to have to bring everything that the MCU has been doing together to a close. And they're going to have to bring out all the cards, take so many chances, and make this the ultimate love letter to superhero movies. Secret Wars will be epic. It's gonna be epic. Regardless if it's good or trash, it will be epic. Bring a tear to people's eyes. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie's like 4 hours long. Like, I'm probably thinking Doomsday is probably gonna be around 3.5 hours long, and then Secret Wars is gonna be like 4.5 hours long. Like, it may sound like an exaggeration, but I do think this may be the biggest and best film we will ever get. Possibly even topping the greatest movie of all time currently. Now, I haven't revealed it yet. I did reveal it in my video. The greatness of this film is unfathomable. You see, if you haven't seen that one, I haven't revealed it yet, but I will be revealing it soon. And I also made a video, This is Blasphemy, where I go over why Rotten Tomatoes somehow only gave this film an 84%. They should change it to a 100. So, this film, though, like, the other film that I think is greatest is very different from this one, but at the same time, it doesn't have a whole bunch of CGI. It has really good practical effects. This film is probably going to be a lot of CGI. Like, a whole lot. But it's going to be emotional that the MCU ends. It's an end of a generation, and we're going to have to watch it all unfold. So Secret Wars it will have to live up to our expectations, as it brings together everything that we've loved about this franchise since it started with Iron Man back in 2008, which was a pretty big year for me. And I believe it is going to be great. They're going to learn from their past mistakes and make this the best film in the entire MCU, best superhero movie of all time, possibly one of the greatest movies. I shouldn't say it has the potential to be the greatest movie. I'll just say it has the potential to be one of the greatest movies of all time. I think Doomsday the same, but like, this will be the biggest movie ever made, biggest, most expensive movie with one of the largest casts, some of the most epic battles. The final battle of this movie is gonna be epic. It's gonna be, in fact, I think this entire film is probably gonna be just one big final battle against villains, against heroes coming together to fight a common goal. It's gonna be crazy. Like, I don't know how to feel about Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. Like, I think what they're going to do is, like, make it that it's a Tony Stark from another universe that became evil, something like that. Or maybe just make it stay true to the story, something like that. I don't know. Or maybe this version of Tony Stark was Doctor Doom from the beginning. Who knows? But the MCU is ending, and this will be its conclusion, so I'm excited. I'm excited for Doomsday. That's 2026. This one's 2027. That's 3 years away, but or maybe less than 3 years. It's coming out in May, 2.5 years, something like that. So yeah, this has great potential. Another film I think has great potential, Across the Spider-Verse, could be the best animated superhero movie of all time. One of the best, probably even the best animated movie of all time. Possibly the greatest animated superhero movie of all time, the greatest animated movie of all time. Probably the best superhero movie of all time. Like Beyond the Spider-Verse has so much potential to be so many of the greatest things. Dune Messiah could be the best sci-fi movie of all time, because they're saying it's going to be better than Dune Part 2, which is already my top it's one of my top 3 sci-fi movies of all time. You can't, and it's going to be hard to top Dune Part 2, but Denis Villeneuve's an amazing director, so I think he can do it. So, Avengers, Secret Wars, Dune Messiah, Beyond the Spider-Verse, they all have great potential to be the best movies of their genres. But Secret Wars, it can be the greatest superhero movie of all time if they put its mind to it, if they put the work in, if they contribute, if the entire cast and production crew, if the directors, the Russo brothers are great directors. I think they are going to kill it with this film. I think this has a good chance to be the best superhero movie ever made. And it's gonna be an unfathomably great film if they put their minds to it. It could even be better than my number one greatest movie of all time, and should be definitively considered the greatest movie of all time. I will be revealing it in a new video if the people who watched the previous video subscribe. If not, I'll still probably do it because I have to make a video about this movie. But when Secret Wars comes out, if it's a disappointment, it's going to be the most disappointing movie of all time, because this is the biggest. It was going to be built up to be the biggest and best movie in the entire franchise, the conclusion, and it ends up being bad. If it ends up being bad, people are going to protest. If this movie ends up being bad, Marvel, World War III will start as we know it. World War III will start if this movie is bad. That's a joke, but that's how big it's going to be. You disappoint an entire generation, everyone will hate this studio. So, Doomsday and Secret Wars, they have to be good, because they're the last big movies in the MCU before it eventually ends. And the new DC Cinematic Universe, which is being directed by James Gunn, starts, and that could be the next big MCU. But all things have to come to an end. Like James Bond, I don't think it's No Time to Die wasn't the last, but it would be a great place to end it, because James Bond is dead, so the best you can do now is prequels. So, yeah. Secret Wars, I have faith in it. Russo brothers, I have faith in you guys. If you see this video, you guys are great directors. You guys, make this the best movie in the MCU. Make this the best dang movie possible. The best superhero movie of all time is on its way, guys. Secret Wars has great potential. I'll be seeing you in the next video where I talk about the greatest movie of all time. And yes, it's somehow better than Lawrence of Arabia.